and to have this work that Karen and I collaborated on, although collaboration is
Oh, do you want this?
not exactly the word. I mean, I'd already written the poem, so I didn't have to do anything. Karen just, Karen did all the work, really. So I'm going to just read a couple of the poems that are up here. I'll start with this one, which is also the name of the show, Grandmother's Hair. My grandmother's hair. If you travel to Germany, tell me if you slept on my grandmother's hair. You'd know. In the night, you would have heard the mattress rustle, and the sigh buried deep in its stuffing, my grandmother dreaming of me. And this poem actually refers to the fact that there was quite a vibrant, well-paying trade going on in the mid-40s between the death camps in Eastern Europe and felt manufacturers in Germany. So there you go. And I'll read just one other one, because most of them are from a very long poem. And this is the stunning red and black piece in the back there, called Big Tomatoes. My father refuses food from anyone's garden. He knows how they grow those big tomatoes. You dig a dead Jew in your soil. That's how they did it in Poland, the year the postcard stopped. That year of the bumper crops, that year they fertilized their fields with bone and ash. Better the cans of soup that line the cellar. Sometimes my mother can't help it. She stomps a few seeds under her heel and prays for rain. If he catches her, he calls her a capo. If she stoops to pull a weed, he pulls his hair. He remembers what happened the last time they weeded Europe. The disciplined ranks of tomatoes, the cabbages in their rigid, orderly rows, the peasants with their sharpened hoes and sickles. Smoke from the trampled heaps of weeds in the ditches still stings his eyes. He refuses to let one tear water the ground.
Wow.
One more? It should be like one more. Somebody's just coming up. Maybe we could inform them what's going on.
Okay, one poem for Richard.
Hi.
Hey, Richard.
We need to read something. Now we just say one more.
One more for you.
One more.
Yeah, one more.
Encore.
Really.
Yes, one more. Happy Richard, if you're young, you gotta read.
And if it's a short one, make it two more.
You tell them.
Yeah. Yeah.
The mannequins?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, all right. That's a little bit, yeah, all right. Oh. Okay, so this one, the mannequin, with the mannequins there, my father had a dress store, and the mannequins were kind of loomed large in my dream life. And they're going to be, they play quite a role in the book of poems I'm working on right now. This one is called Earliest Rivals. I used to think my earliest rival was my parents' best friend's son, but now I suspect his parents. It was after the war, and my father was busy shopping for replacements. For reasons never explained to me, I didn't fit the bill. They'd survived the camps. Who could compete with that? Not my father. Who knew what to call his stunned condition? Any pain he could claim paled next to theirs. 3 mannequins preened in his storefront window, more than he could afford for a struggling store. He printed numbers on their wrists in indelible ink. On his own, the scars were barely healed. When he took my hand, I could feel the fevered ridge. The mannequin's hands were cool and smooth. Musulmaner, they'd given up on life. My rivals wore their shirt sleeves long, their voices buttoned, their memories in a place they'd never find. My father had none of his own, so he couldn't sleep. He prowled the small town streets until first light, asking the stop signs how and where and when his brothers died. He needed to rub himself raw against the crime. They'd been there. They could tell him what it was like. They tried. The problem was, they had survived. They could tell him what it was like, up to a point. The point where the capos shoved the naked bodies through the doors and an unseen hand poured in the Zyklon B. The point where his naked brothers always disappeared from my father's sight. I had no need to worry about my rivals. They were as useless in the end as his only son. Thank you.
Murray.
Oh.
Well, if anybody needs another glass of wine after that.